The scale house is a major hub of our operation. All the vehicles and scrap metal that we buy and sell begin by being weighed on one of our two truck scales, which allow for inbound and outbound weighing. Our fluids building is one of the many things that sets USAR apart. Inside our uniquely designed and state-of-the-art building, we depollute all end-of-life vehicles by removing all the fluids and refrigerant to safely recycle and dispose of it, as a preliminary step in the vehicle recycling process. All the loads of scrap metal that we purchase from other scrap dealers get dropped here in front of our pre-shredder. Everything goes through our pre-shredder before we put it into our hammer mill shredder, which allows for the shredder to be more productive and adds an element of safety to our operation. We use our Zato GF4000 to pre-shred all the materials we intend to put through our hammer mill shredder. This includes the cars that have had all their useful parts removed, as well as the scrap metal that we purchase from other scrap dealers. This machine turns at a low RPM with extremely high torque and shreds the cars and metal into pieces that better feed into our hammer mill shredder. Our hammer mill shredder is loaded with all the scrap material that we generate in our yard and take in from outside sources. The hammer mill is the final step in liberating and separating the metals into their most valuable raw materials. It is one of the key steps in helping us to strive for a zero landfill outcome from the processing of end-of-life vehicles and scrap metal. After vehicles have been weighed and checked in, we determine whether the vehicle can be repaired and sold as a used vehicle or not. Vehicles that cannot be repaired for sale are dismantled for the purposes of generating parts for our self-service auto parts business, as well as retail parts sales. Our parts warehouse allows us to store parts while we are inventorying and photographing them as preliminary steps in the parts sales process. Parts will be sold to the public via the internet, to local repair shops, and to car dealerships. The loading docks are where we load semi-trucks with blocks of aluminum, copper chops, and parts that have been sold for export. Catalytic converters are removed from all end-of-life vehicles. Our catalytic cracker is used to remove the platinum group metals and the ceramic substrate from the catalytic converters. The metals and ceramic substrate are sent off for further refining and will ultimately end up back in newly manufactured catalytic converters. Our tire recycling machine allows us to recycle tires that are no longer roadworthy. We can help other businesses, local governments, and municipalities dispose of tires that, when not recycled and disposed of properly, can be extremely hazardous. Both the recycled rubber and tire wire are then sold for future reuse. Our copper wire granulator is used to remove the insulation from all the stripped vehicle wiring. Separating the copper component out allows us to turn the recycled copper over for reuse in new wire manufacturing. These engine crackers are used to crush the engines and transmissions that we remove from end-of-life vehicles that can no longer be used. The cracker liberates the aluminum from the steel and cast iron of the engine and transmission components. Our aluminum ovens allow us to melt down the aluminum that we retrieve from our own vehicles, as well as purchase from other scrap dealers. The aluminum is melted into blocks which are then sold to die casters for the purposes of making new engines and transmissions. End-of-life and crashed vehicles are put into the self-service parts yard after devolution, so that retail customers can remove parts from the vehicles with their own tools and buy them.